on Dr. Phil. His trial
He did kill my sister.
ended in a hung jury.
I didn't kill Lori. My life's been destroyed over this.
So is mine.
With so much at stake,
If he failed his polygraph, then I think this case needs to be reopened.
what will the polygraph reveal?
Did you kill Lori Ann Hill? And the results are...
Oh. Dr. Phil, I'm gonna be sick.
Recently, we were on the edge of our seats trying to get answers as to who was responsible for the death of 14-year-old Lori Ann Hill 29 years ago. Lori's sister Rachel was pointing the finger at her little sister's ex-boyfriend Walt over her murder. Here's what happened.
Who killed 14-year-old Lori Ann Hill?
Lori Ann was laid to rest in 1985 after she was murdered and found naked in a wooded area. Her case went cold until 3 years ago. That's when investigators made Lori's ex-boyfriend, Walter Zimbeck, a suspect due to his admitted lies he told investigators at the time, scratches on his arms the day after the murder, and no solid alibi.
Lori was 12 when she met Walt.
Did you kill Lori Ann Hill?
I haven't had a chance in 27 years to miss my sister. It's been so consumed with catching Walt Zimbeck. I hate you, and I know you killed Lori.
You are convinced that Walter Zimbeck did this to your sister.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. The rage I feel about Walt is overwhelming. I wouldn't mind seeing his spine severed so that he has to go through a torture every single day like me.
I've never hated somebody so bad in my life.
You're not looking for vigilante justice here. Walt says he is innocent.
Rachel has become fixated on me as the one and only person of interest in her sister's death. But I had nothing to do with it. I've always been in love with Lori, and I still love her even today. I did not have any scratches, blood, or any mark whatsoever on my body. When I learned that Lori had been murdered, I was crushed. The police have no evidence against me whatsoever. I'm innocent.
How do you feel sitting across from the man you believe bludgeoned your sister to death?
Absolutely sick to my stomach because I know you killed Lori. I know it, and you know it.
I think she's lost her mind.
Did you lie to the police?
I give two conflicting stories at one time where I left out the fact that I was actually with a girl the night that this took place.
Why would there be two versions at all? I mean, somebody's dead here.
I was 18 years old. I was scared. I was nervous.
Did you have 4 different alibis?
I was at the mall. I've always said I was at the mall.
Did you talk to her that day?
Never talked to Lori that day.
He's lying. He's a liar.
They've tried me and found me not guilty. It's still ruined my life. Lori's murder has destroyed me.
Now, you just said a jury found you not guilty. That isn't true.
It was a mistrial.
No, sir. It was a hung jury.
The state is not precluded from refiling charges against Mr. Zimbeck in the future if circumstances dictate, since there is no statute of limitations on murder.
I do wonder if Rachel was involved somehow in Lori's death. Rachel has never been cleared as a suspect.
Are you out of your mind? I didn't kill Lori. I will take a lie detector right this second. With or without him doing it, everything that I have told you is the God's honest truth. They should have hung you 20 years ago.
Is it possible that you're wrong?
No, sir. I know he killed my sister.
You're fully.
Let's do the polygraph.
You said you would take a polygraph.
Yes, sir.
And you said you'd take a polygraph about whether or not you killed her sister.
Let's do it.
I want everyone to get closer to the truth. After the show, Rachel and Walt did not hold back their thoughts about each other and what they felt happened in studio.
When I saw Walt and Amber walk out onto the stage, I had unbelievable anger. I was very thankful that Dr. Phil had set up the bodyguards to protect me from my own reactions. My first thought was, you're still as disgusting as I saw you in court. And my next thought was, when you sit in that chair, I hope I can jump hard enough to snap you back. When we were on the show, I was really happy that the more I sat quiet, the more Dr. Phil worked at Walt's story, and it just started falling apart, and that brought me a lot of happiness.
I just asked you if you lied to police. You said no, never. And here you're telling police, in quotes, no, I'm not denying that. Those were bold-faced lies.
That was the police officer's statement that I made bold-faced lies. When he said that, those was...
No, you said, okay,
I know what
I'm
you're
not
reading there.
denying that.
Hang on a second. My attorney can show you this in a minute.
And you said you'd take a polygraph about whether or not you killed her sister.
Yes, sir.
When Walt agreed to the lie detector test, I absolutely did not believe that he was going to come back. I suspect Walt will find a reason at some point between now and the lie detector test to get out of it. That would be in his best interest because he's going to the penitentiary for what he did to my sister.
I was told Rachel was trying to seek closure and was wanting to get help and try to put an end to all this. Instead, I felt like Rachel and Dr. Phil tried to play judge and jury and tried to retry me right there on the stage. I was not prepared for the questions that they asked. I was prepared for a totally different look at this whole show. Now, if they ask me the tough questions, I am ready. I do believe I wasn't given a chance to speak on the show. If I don't get to tell my story this time, I'll just leave. I've had enough.
I have to tell you, I don't think Walt and I were even on the same show. I think he had plenty of opportunities to refute Rachel's claims, but today he's back, and I will give him yet another chance to get his side of the story out. Rachel is here as well. They flew here to Los Angeles to take those polygraph tests. We'll see how it went, or if Walt backed out like Rachel predicted he would do. All of that after the break.
Coming up.
I was being accused of killing Lori Hill all over again and felt like I was being tried on the stage with no evidence.
So you didn't say some things that you wish you had said.
Exactly.
How is that my responsibility?
And later.
Question number 1, did you kill Lori Ann Hill? Your answer was?
No.
Were you present when Lori died? Your answer was?
No.
And the results are?
We now return to Did Walt Kill His Ex-Girlfriend? The polygraph test results revealed.
I was pretty displeased with the first show. I was blindsided by Dr. Phil and Rachel, who never shut up the entire time. They were more or less accusing me of killing Lori. The bottom line is that I am the victim, and this show tried to portray me as a criminal. I believe Rachel is clearly mentally unstable. Rachel is a suspect. She has never been cleared by any police department, and she did claim at one point that she wanted to kill her sister. She will not pass her lie detector test. I am here today to prove that I did not kill Lori and take this lie detector test and put this behind me once and for all.
Walt, how are you? Good to see you. Amber, how are you? Now, there were some things that they tell me that you said you wanted to set the record straight on.
Yes, sir.
The floor is yours.
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is that there is no way that I can be retried.
If you're not going to be retried, as I said before, I don't think you're going to be retried.
No.
It's my understanding that it was a hung jury, and so this had been dismissed without prejudice. So,
well, that Rachel's point was that I could be retried, and I was going to be retried, and you know, I just wanted to make the point clear of the legal issues. In the last show, I told you that the detective got on the stand and said that he could lie. And that's what I want to show her, that people do lie.
My question to you at the time was not, did they lie to you? Because they can lie to a suspect.
Correct.
The Supreme Court has held that they can lie to a suspect in pursuit of the truth, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct.
My question to you was, are you saying that an officer of the court went into the court under oath and lied from the witness stand in court?
Yes, I am.
That's different from lying to you in interrogation. Those are two very different issues that will not be lost on your lawyer, Amber. We'll watch it right here. Did you lie to the police?
No, sir.
Okay, well, the reason I ask that is because on December 30th of 2008, you were confronted with your 1985 statements. They say, what did you do that night? And you said, well, I was at home at 7 and I went to sleep at 11, which isn't true because your mom says you weren't home. You said, right, I wasn't home. Then 4 days later, you talked to different police. You say, I went to Southwick, hung out with this girl. I can't remember her last name. She was at my house from 10 till 2, which wasn't true, right? She wasn't at your house from 10 to 2. Your answer, no. She was not. And they say, all right, those statements that you gave were, and you finish the sentence and say lies. I just asked you if you lied to police. You said no, never. And here you're telling police, in quotes, no, I'm not denying that. Those were bold-faced lies.
Well, that was the police officer's statement that I made bold-faced lies.
So the police are lying here.
Definitely.
Okay, and that's what you objected to before.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there any part of that that I read incorrectly?
You did read it correctly.
Okay, so what I read on the show was true and accurate in terms of what's in the appellate brief.
I was trying to express the fact was that, not that I was lying, the fact is that he was trying to say that I'm lying, so there was a confusion point in there.
Okay.
But if you'll listen to that tape of the conversation that we had in whole, you'll understand a whole lot more. In the words, it does look bad where you hear me go, Well, I'm keeping up with you. And I'm acknowledging that I'm listening to you.
Just acknowledging that I get what you're saying. I hear you,
yes,
I hear you.
Is not affirmative response. Is me keeping up with you.
The police said that you lied because they're saying there's no getting around that you said, what you said is just a bold-faced lie twice. Okay, I'm not denying that. I don't know what you said. I'm just telling you what they filed with the court as an officer of the court. You also said that I didn't give you a chance to tell your side of the story.
Correct.
And that I allowed Rachel to ridicule you on stage.
Correct.
In fact, I pulled some of those things together. Let's take a look at this.
Okay.
I think you may feel a little differently in retrospect. Well, why did you want to be here today?
This is my first chance since all the trial and everything to be able to give my side of the story of what actually has happened.
You know she's completely wrong because you know you didn't do it, right?
That's correct.
And you've not been convicted of doing it. And at this point, you understand that there is some basis for her suspicions from her standpoint, or you think no?
I think she's lost her mind.
I witnessed you on top of the babysitter. You had her straddled on my bed.
That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life.
But the police weren't called, and no reports were made.
Why don't you just stop now? Because anything that comes out of your mouth is absolutely half
Well, she's not going to stop because she has as much right to make her statements and say what she wants to hear as do you.
Thank you.
That's what we call a conversation. There was no DNA found on the body from him.
There was no evidence.
Exactly. There was no DNA saying that he had his hands on her. You were given a polygraph test in November of 1985, correct?
Yes.
And the results were that was non-deceptive.
Yes, sir.
I did ask our expert, Jack Tremarco, to review this, and he refers to this as a protocol that's no longer used, but the way that protocol worked was very hard to pass. If there was an error, it would seem that the error would be against him, not for him. If you think he did it, then prove it. Because at this point, I'm not surprised the jury was hung. There are some things that don't look good, but listen, depriving someone of their liberty in America is a very high standard, as well it should be. And what you call proof is not going to be seen the way you see it here. She's making serious allegations against you. You've had the opportunity to deny them. I think I've put it all out here on the table. Would you agree?
I would.
Your complaints are what?
We felt that both of us were attacked. To step on that stage and hear for the first time that she was just released from a mental institution and had homicidal thoughts about killing us.
Just 2 nights ago, you were hospitalized.
Yes, I was.
Because you threatened Walter Zembeck's lawyer.
If threatened Walt Zembeck's life, I'd like to slap Amber to the floor.
Why were you hospitalized?
They were keeping me safe from hunting Amber and Walt down.
That you were going to hunt them down and kill them?
Yes.
And in fact, you promised your father.
And I promised him when I found the man who killed her that I would kill him. He would die a torturous, horrid death.
That right there set us off guard.
I would not let her keep you from saying what you wanted to say, and I didn't let you keep her from saying what she wanted to say. Let's call it a conversation.
Yeah.
All it was is her accusing me is the way I felt. I was being accused of killing Lori Hill all over again. It felt like I was being tried on the stage with no evidence.
So you didn't say some things that you wish you had said?
Exactly.
How is that my responsibility?
First, I'd like to say that she needs to look in her own statements. She said that she wanted to kill her sister, had a shotgun to her mother's stomach, and wanted to kill her sister's friend with a beer bottle to her throat, and she blacked out and went to a mental hospital. She has no evidence to back up one thing that she says about me, but she wants to go on national television and try to make me look like I've done something that I haven't done.
If it matters to you at all, I don't know what happened and who killed this girl.
Nobody does.
I certainly never thought it was you.
I guess I am tired of her ridiculing me and the things that she says. I cared for Lori Hill. I do feel sorry for Rachel, and I really do, and she'll never believe that, and I don't even care. But the fact of it is that all the glaring and staring in the world doesn't upset me. It's childish on her part, and I think she needs to just realize, look at the facts. We both want to get to the bottom of this.
Do you feel like you've had your say?
I do feel like I've had
Yeah.
my say today, and I want to thank you for that.
Coming up,
You were administered a polygraph by Jack Tramarco, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did Walt rip the shirt of the babysitter at your home in 1991? And your answer was?
Yes.
And the results were?
and later.
Question number 1, did you kill Lori Ann Hill? Your answer was?
No.
And the results are?
Dr. Phil, I'm going to be sick.
And now the story continues. Did Walt kill his ex-girlfriend? The polygraph test results revealed.
On the last show, Walt lied about the acquittal, about attacking my babysitter. He had lied about the kilo of cocaine and my involvement with a motorcycle gang. And the biggest lie of all that he told was that he didn't murder my sister. 29 years ago, Walt was given a polygraph test in a very small town from a man who did not have a lot of credibility. And that's why I believe today, with understanding countermeasures and all of those things, that Walt has no chance of passing this test. I believe that Walt's polygraph will show the world what a liar, killing, rapist he is.
Rachel claims that you said she stole a kilo of cocaine and that she lied about you raping the babysitter.
She did lie about that.
And that she gave you Lori's earring.
When the warrant came down for him, in his possession, he had an earring that was round. Walt said that that earring was given to him by me at the funeral as a memorial type thing for him to remember Lori always.
Okay, and what's your point?
My point is, he beat that earring out of my sister's head that night.
That was your sister's earring.
It was my earring that my sister was wearing that night.
And so he was in possession of the earring she was wearing that night.
Yes.
She says that she didn't give it to me. How else did I get the earring? Lori was in her casket, and due to her injuries, they were unable to put the earring on her. And I got the earring as a keepsake.
Rachel has been watching our conversation, and she's going to join us now.
Dr. Phil,
Good to see you again.
nice to see you again. Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Rachel, thank you for being here. You've been listening from another room. You've been able to watch and see what's gone on so far, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a specific goal in being here today?
The reason that I am back here is because he did attack my babysitter. He did kill my sister. From 1985 to 1991, Walt and I were buddies. I was storing a car for him in my garage when he attacked my babysitter.
So your thought was if he could do that, then he could have done the other.
Correct.
That's a huge leap, by the way, but I get your logic. You said that he was confused about the babysitter versus somebody that he had dated for 2 years. Well, let's look at what you said.
When we were on the show the last time, we briefly spoke about one of Walt's rape victims.
How would you know that he had raped someone? I mean, you weren't there.
I was there when he attempted it on my babysitter and had her face bleeding and her shirt ripped. I saw that.
The girl that she's talking about that says that I raped her, it was in court, and we dated for 2 years.
Generally, rapists and their victims don't have a lot of...
For a 2-year, exactly, a 2-year relationship of rape? I mean, is there no consensual sex anywhere?
When Walt said, how can you rape someone after dating them for 2 years? He must have been confused on which rape victim he was talking about. When Walt was talking about the 2-year dating, that was from a 14-year-old girl that he began dating after my sister's funeral. He met her there. Walt dated this young lady for from 14 to 16, and when she broke up with him, that's when she was raped. And I know this to be true because this rape victim testified in court against Walt.
Rachel, almost every man that's entered in your family's life has either raped you, your daughter, Lori, or somebody that knows you.
That is
Out of
a
your own
bald-faced
statements.
lie.
I assume that you took a polygraph about this.
Yes,
correct?
sir. About what?
So about whether you raped the babysitter or not?
No.
Or attempted to rape
Attempted.
the babysitter?
No, I did not.
Attempted.
You did not?
No.
Why would you not
I
do
took
that?
about the death of Lori Hill. That's what I was here for.
The polygraph examiner didn't question him about any issues of rape.
Yeah, I thought they had offered you to take a polygraph question about that, and you declined.
The reason why I didn't do it is because I'm here to prove my innocence of Lori Hill. I've never been charged. There's no charges ever pending. There's nothing on a rape. As far as I'm concerned, the rape never took place, and therefore I'm not going to answer to it.
Okay, so you were administered a polygraph by Jack Tremarco, correct?
Yes, sir.
And during that polygraph, were you explained everything about the polygraph
Yes,
to your
sir.
satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand the questions
Yes, sir.
fully and completely?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you feel like it was a valid test?
Yes, sir.
You were actually given 2 polygraphs. And in your first polygraph test, you were asked the question, during 1991, at your house, did Walt rip the babysitter's shirt?
Yes.
And your answer was,
Yes.
and then it was asked a second way,
Correct.
just for validity purposes. Did Walt rip the shirt of the babysitter at your home in 1991? And your answer was?
Yes.
Okay. And the results were?
Coming up.
I have here the polygraph test for Walt. If he failed his polygraph, then I think this case needs to be reopened. If he didn't, then I think you need to change your position.
My life has been destroyed over this.
So is mine.
So do we open this or do we not?
We now return to Did Walt Kill His Ex-Girlfriend? The polygraph test results revealed.
Today's the day I've been looking for almost 30 years to prove that Walt Zimbeck killed my sister. I am hoping that they're going to ask me about his attack on my babysitter. There will be no surprises for me at all on my polygraph test. I will pass.
In your first polygraph test, you were asked the question, during 1991, at your house, did Walt rip the babysitter's shirt?
Yes.
And the results were that you were telling the truth about that.
Yes, sir.
That,
I know.
That you believe that that did happen.
I know that it happened.
Do you have any comment about that?
It never happened.
I'm not saying a rape happened. I'm just saying, did the shirt get ripped?
I don't even know. I don't even know why she had a babysitter. Why would I be there at her house with a babysitter? I mean, I don't even know her.
That's a lie.
There was a second polygraph administered, and I assume this was the one that has to do with whether or not you were involved in her death.
Yes, sir.
It appears the question was very straightforward. Did you kill Lori? And your answer was?
No.
And it was in a second form. Were you directly involved in causing Lori's death? And your answer was?
No.
The results say that you were non-deceptive, that you were telling the truth, that you were not involved
I know.
in Lori's death or causing
I
her
know.
death. Now, I have here the polygraph test for Walt, and this was confined to whether he was involved in Lori's death. Did you feel that Mr. Tremarco was professional?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you feel that you were explained everything completely and fully?
Yes, sir.
So you have every confidence that the result in here, you're not going to complain about it whichever way it goes. How about you? You said that he was professional with you.
Absolutely.
What are you going to say if the result here is yes, no, or maybe? I mean, are you going to accept that, or are you going to all of a sudden say, well, something happened?
Oh, absolutely not. Jack was absolutely wonderful. That does not mean that Walt has not taken a drug or anything to, I don't know if that's even possible, but.
Well, I'm not going to give you this polygraph result then because you're already making excuses for the result. It may say that he killed her. It may say that he didn't.
Well,
but you're saying if it says he didn't, well, then maybe he took a drug. I don't know. So you're saying you don't have confidence in Jack Tremarco?
I do. I do.
Look, I want everybody here to have peace in their life. And I'm really trying to bring everybody at least a point where they can choose a different route in this thing. And this, I believe in Jack. I think he's valid. And if he failed his polygraph, then I think this case needs to be reopened. If he didn't, then I think you need to change your position. I mean, if he passed this polygraph, then I think you need to say, well, you know what, I need to move on and try to find out who hurt my sister, who killed my sister. But if you're already saying, well, I'm just going to explain it away.
No, I won't.
Then I refuse to open the envelope. I refuse to do it. I care that Lori gets some justice one way or another.
Well, I'd also, Rachel, I know the things that you've said in the past and how you feel. And I told Dr. Phil earlier, I want you to know I feel sorry for you too. I feel sorry for your family and for myself also. And no matter what, when this is all over and said and done and you finally see that I didn't kill Lori, that I cared and loved for Lori, just like I've always have, I want you to know that I don't have bad feelings for you. I really don't. I feel sorry for you and your family as much as I do mine. My life has been destroyed over this.
So is mine.
So do we open this or do we not?
Yes, sir.
I say let's open it.
I'd ask for Jack to come in.
Hey,
Jack,
everybody.
please.
Hey, hi, Jack.
How are you, Jack?
Mr. Tremarco, how are you, sir?
It's been a long day, Doctor.
Well, I know that and I appreciate it. I'm curious, we're getting ready to open what I think is a pivotal envelope here. It was a polygraph for Walt. And I won't ask you what the result was yet, but I will ask you if it was a valid test in your view. Do you have confidence in the result?
High degree of confidence, yes.
Okay. Did you detect any countermeasures on Rachel's part when she took her polygraphs?
No, I didn't. It was a very pure test, easy to read.
So was it a close call in her scoring?
No, they were both definitively non-deceptive.
Did you detect anything that would alert you to countermeasures on the part of Walt here?
No. Another clean test and really quite easy for me to score numerically.
Right. So should we open this or should we not?
Yes, I completely believe in Jack.
Well, very straightforward, just as they were with you. Question number 1, did you kill Lori Ann Hill? Your answer was?
No.
Were you present when Lori died? Your answer was?
No.
And the results are?
Coming up.
Why all the different lies, Walt? Oh, Jesus. Dr. Phil, I'm gonna be sick.
And now the story continues. Did Walt kill his ex-girlfriend? The polygraph test results revealed.
I am here today to take a polygraph test. I'm feeling good about it. I believe we can finally get things straightened out and get the truth out. I'm excited to prove to the world finally that I've passed this, that I had nothing to do with the death of Lori Hill, and let me move on with my life.
Question number 1, did you kill Lori Ann Hill? Your answer was?
No.
Were you present when Lori died? Your answer was?
No.
And the results are that he was being non-deceptive. He was telling the truth. He did not kill your sister. He was not present when your sister was killed. Jack, was this a close call?
No. Just like Rachel's exam, it was very pure and easy numerically to call.
What do you have to say?
I understand what the lie detectors test said. I don't understand why people that were in court...
Can I say something, Dr. Phil, here?
Please.
It's for you. It's to help you. The person that got on the stand and testified to that for all these years has had the exact same story. The day before his testimony, he got on the stand, the prosecutor and my attorneys was notified that he was changing his story the day before his testimony.
Okay, but why even just...
Because he worked for me and we had business problems and he was fired from a job from me. I took it as it was vengeance. And I'm sorry that that's the way it was, but...
Why all the different lies, though, Walt? Why did you tell my mom you were in a bar fight? Why did you tell us? But you did.
I don't remember telling anybody that I was in a bar fight. I've been in bar fights, and I've told the detectives the same thing, okay? Whether that time or was or wasn't, in your own statement, you said that Lori doesn't even have fingernails to scratch somebody. So how could I be so scratched up?
We're going backwards here.
We're going backwards, you're right. But so,
can you honestly look at her right now and say, we were motivated to come here to help?
We were motivated to come here to help you. I was told that I was coming here because you wanted closure and wanted to help put this together is why I came here. I came here for you, Rachel. I did. Dr. Phil, I want to say one more thing. Rachel's family has meant the world to me. Lori, and she's crying right now to tell you that Lori meant the world to me. I would do anything for her, and she knows it. And you do too, don't you? I want you to personally have closure in this, as well as to let this thing rest. For me, let Lori be, let me be, and let's find the person that did this together.
God, Walt.
I'm so sorry.
Jesus, how are we going to get through this? I believed them too.
I told you.
How are we going to get through this?
Together.
The Sands didn't kill her.
They did.
Oh, Jesus. Dr. Phil, I'm going to be sick.
Okay, if you need to go to the girls' room, go ahead.
Which way is it?
Straight through there.
Coming up.
Rachel, can I give you some advice here? You do your sister no service by allowing yourself to fall apart.
We now return to Did Walt Kill His Ex-Girlfriend? The polygraph test results revealed.
Rachel, can I give you an opinion and some advice here? In the interest of fairness, I asked him the hard questions on the show. He resented some of those questions, but if you don't ask the hard questions, then people don't have the opportunity to hear the answers.
You have to, it's part of it.
But if it helps you, I never for 1 minute believed that he killed your sister.
I just didn't understand why all the different stories, and I know he was young, and I know he was scared.
If it matters, when I looked at the sum totality of this, you just didn't look like a very good suspect to me. Were there inconsistencies in a record that is 25 years old? Yeah. One thing that I think you haven't done in all of this time is to allow yourself to grieve.
No, sir.
And
that hurts too bad.
That lets wounds just fester and get worse and deeper and deeper. And I hope that you will do two things for me and two things for your sister. One is to take care of you. If I believed what you believed, then I would have been as tunnel vision focused on it as you have been. Because if you believe that, we believe what we tell ourselves. And if you believe that, then I understand why you would be so relentlessly focused on Walt and getting some justice here. But you do your sister no service by allowing yourself to fall apart. You need to grieve your sister's loss. You need to get over any guilt that you may feel for not protecting her? I mean, obviously this man has said that he forgives you and wants to help you move forward and help you find whoever did this to your sister. And I think that's a puzzle that you should solve. But I think you have to solve it with some balance in your life. If it becomes all-consuming, where it's all you do, it's all you think, it's all you feel, you eat, sleep, live it every minute of every day.
Yes.
That's not healthy. That's not what she would want. But you build a fence around it, and then you give yourself permission and simultaneously require yourself to get back in the game. This is no legacy that you give your sister here.
I thought for all these years it was.
It absolutely is not. And you need professional help to navigate this. And I'm going to get you that professional help. Let that be our gift to you. Let me get you some professional help that will help you say, my God, where do I go from here? I've gone 30 years in the wrong direction. I got to make a U-turn and go back and then start over. How do I do that? Let me get you some help putting this back together. Will you take that help? And
Yes.
I mean, really really immerse yourself in it.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make sure that you do, okay?
I will.
Question number 1, did you kill Lori Ann Hill? Your answer was?
No.
Were you present when Lori died? Your answer was?
No.
And the results are that he was being non-deceptive. He was telling the truth. He did not kill your sister. He was not present when your sister was killed.
I am just in shock. I really am, Walt.
I hope that you always knew it in the back of your mind that I didn't do it.
You know why I wanted it to be you so bad? That way it wasn't a monster. That when Lori was killed, that y'all had already gotten in an argument. And she didn't know she was gonna die, and now she, again, it's back. She knew she was gonna die in some piece of.
Somebody was very abusive to her.
She fought for her life, that's for sure.
She fought back, and that was something we were proud of that back then. When Dr. Phil read the results of my polygraph test, it was a vindication feeling, and I was really hoping that Rachel would see the light that I didn't have anything to do with her sister's death.
Walt passed the polygraph. He did not kill my sister. I have to forgive him.
It was like a ton of bricks lifted off of my shoulders. I do believe that for the first time in a long time, Rachel knows in her heart that I am innocent.
Walt came over and hugged me. It felt like one chapter had ended.
When I did hug her, she told me, I know you didn't kill my sister.
I will continue for the rest of my life to find the man who murdered my sister and left her on the side of the road like garbage.
I do still hope that the police departments will continue to look for the person that killed Lori Hill and be able to bring them to justice someday. I think of Lori quite often. I just wonder where things would be today if that tragedy never happened.
There are clearly no winners in this unfortunate situation, but it is truly time to move on. When I say move on, I don't mean forget what happened. I don't mean say, well, I guess it's just not knowable. But you do have to put some balance into your life. You do have to say, I'll never forget my loved one. They will always be in my heart, and I will relentlessly pursue answers as to who is responsible for this tragic murder. But I will take care of myself. Life is for the living, and I will do what I have to do to preserve myself so I can pursue that memory. And sometimes the hardest choice of all is to choose to grieve, which means admitting that that loved one is lost and is not coming back. I want to thank all of my guests for being here today, and a special thanks to former FBI Special Agent and polygraph expert Jack Tremarco. We'll see you soon.